Beyond the sacking of a corrupt official, what about punitive measures? Is sacking enough to curtail such corrupt practices?
No. Part of what was done then was to improve the conditions of judges. Because the conditions were very bad. But the conditions were improved. A judge in Lagos did not have to lose a sleep over where to lay his head after retirement. So issues were addressed. It was then a case of, well, with all we have done, now let's see anybody who's not going to do the work. And that must go for every segment of the society. So to fight corruption is not just enough to railroad people to jail. We must ask questions about the management of the economy. We must, because you are talking about agenda. You can't fight corruption without addressing the parasitic nature of the Nigerian economy. How many people are paying taxes? Yes, the government will not have enough money, from oil revenue. But what of taxes? Are we collecting taxes? If you take a state like Lagos, in 1999, the monthly IGR of Lagos was 600 million. Today it's over 20 billion. The federal government must do something about it. Customs Department. You must look at the Customs Department. Why are we granting duty waivers to certain people? In 2012, the Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Diko, went to the Senate committee, and disclosed that for the first 9 months of that year, 2012, the Ministry of Defense, under the World Bank lady, had granted duty waivers to the tune of over 600 billion naira. You can't go on like that. So every year we are losing trillions to duty waivers. We must stop that. If you want to have money to run the economy, once you can satisfy the people, you can address certain problems in the society.
Are these waivers illegal? Because a couple of times, if you drive through the airport toll, or where you have tolls,
yes,
you get to see some official or tainted vehicles with some number plate come and drive past. As you're paying your toll, they go through.
All that has to stop. That's what I mean by taxes.
Good.
All that has to stop. The law cannot allow certain people not to pay taxes. I once had that experience, and I caused a problem there because somebody was not allowed to pay. And I told them I'm not going to pay too. I paid yesterday, but since you allowed certain people not to pay, I'm not going to pay today. Of course I didn't pay, just to register a project. And I went to lodge a complaint with the authorities. If you want to cancel this payment, do it, but don't have a situation where certain people will not pay taxes. That's how countries are run. When we're growing up, we used to talk of the taxpayers' money. You are wasting the taxpayers' money today because it's oil money. Nobody bothers. So a new government will have to block the leakages and join issues. It's not just enough to harass Nigerians. You must also join issues with the West. Oh, you say we are corrupt. Good. We admit. But please, can you cooperate with us by repatriating the stolen wealth being kept in the vaults of your banks? And I think they will have a moral crisis not to cooperate.
One more thing I want us to look if this is possible on a national scale, coroner's inquest.
Yes.
The Edo State matter comes again into question. I recall Mark asking the question, if you become an investigator and a judge in your own case, how well can we get to the bottom of it? For instance, in the extrajudicial killing of the young man in Benin. We've seen how it is done here in Lagos, the coroner's inquest. Can it be done in the entire country if we try to say, let's put it as a national life?
In many states, we have the coroner's law.
But it's never followed.
Yeah. And that's the question of impunity. So we must now have a new system that allows us to follow our laws, particularly those laws that protect the interests of our people. Every state that does not have the coroner's law will have to have it. the National Human Rights Commission will have to be up and doing in terms of challenging extrajudicial killings. But you know the greatest problem we have with impunity. Again, I suggested this to the IG, Mr. Solomon Arase, who informed me, by the way, that the judgment debt police has to pay now is about 25 billion naira. You know how that happens? For many cases of illegal detention, extrajudicial killings that go to court, damages are awarded. Right? Cumulatively now, the police will have to pay about 25 billion naira. In the case of the army, it's much more than that. For the military invasion of Zakibiam in Benue, Odi in Bayelsa, and the last one, Daramotu in Delta, the Federal High Court, in 3 separate cases, awarded over 200 billion naira. And I have therefore suggested to the authorities, starting with the police, you must stop the practice whereby from your budget, you pay for the responsibility or the negligence of police officers who may even have been promoted by the time damages are awarded against the police for his dereliction, irresponsibility, or criminality. So, if you have a situation whereby the IG can raise the Riot Act, if anybody sues the police on account of illegal detention carried out by any policeman or woman, you are going to pay 50% of the damages awarded by the court, either from your salary or pension. Everybody will have to adjust. Everybody will have to be careful. But now nobody bothers, including our universities, and we just, this is the first time that government people will say, go to court. In the first place, they know that you are going to be there for years. In the second place, they're not going to pay. There was a vice chancellor of one of our universities. The university at the state had 44 cases. When a new vice chancellor came on board, I did suggest to him, from those cases, because I'm prosecuting some of them, you cannot win 4 out of the 44. So if you are paying your lawyers 10 million naira per case, that's 440 million. For goodness sake, that is money you can save to run your university very well. And luckily, the man decided to settle out of court. All the cases. But here, people now believe that once you go to court, you sue the police, it does not affect the man who detained people illegally or who engaged in extrajudicial killing. So we must now get a system that makes them to pay for their...
Are you optimistic?
I am very optimistic. In fact, the case I handled in Benin, which is an appeal now, we asked for damages. The court awarded 15 million naira. And the court then directed the Attorney General of the state to fish out the policemen and prosecute them. We must get to that state.
Well, I'm just a little curious, though. Some people say that we do know that there are 2 sets of laws. We have the criminal code, and we also have the penal code. Do you ever see a situation where we'll be merging, or, you know, do you think that we can continue on both paths?
No, we have the new Administration of Justice Bill, which has been passed by the legislature. I think is awaiting the assent of the president. And that is one thing that has been addressed in that law at the federal level. But the states are autonomous. So, and every law is based on your own experience. So we cannot ask Kaduna State, for instance, or Kano State to adopt the criminal code, you know. So that is not a problem really. That's not a problem. But the problem is impunity everywhere, all the way.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank you from that point of optimism that you shared with us. We hope that this administration will also be that vigorous in the pursuit of justice for the people and law and order. Femi Falana, a senior advocate of Nigeria, he's been looking at a whole lot of issues, constitutional amendment, of course, setting an agenda. He said, well, we should look into their manifesto, and he doesn't want anyone in preference of the other. They should pursue all that they have said they will pursue for the people. Many thanks for joining us this morning.